I believe the dominance started because there was one product that was significantly better than the rest, and all it really took was three or four implementations to go in successfully on time in budget. The building of the software is also not really what I would call the difficult part. Where the art of building it sits in is having the insurance understanding and building software to talk to the insurance processes. But I think it is simply people not telling the truth about what it is their software can do.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Insurance Distribution Podcast. I'm here today talking with André Symes, the CEO at Genasys. André, how are you?
Very well, and yourself, Martin?
I'm very good. You're right now sitting in Cape Town, but you're also based in London. For those that do not know you, can you share a bit of your story on how you got into working for insurance, and particularly in London, being from South Africa?
Yeah, I think like most people in insurance, they never intended to go into insurance when they left varsity or college, kind of slipped, tripped, and fell into insurance. The company that I work for was founded by my father and my best friend, actually, 25 years ago. And then when they started reaching a small level of scale, they gave me a call and said, would you please join the organization? We need to do some things around operational functions and around the marketing functions of the business. So I gladly joined the company in 2010. I think I was the 15th person through the door, the 15th employee. Moved to Johannesburg out of Cape Town to go and run the business there a little bit. And then in 2016, Craig, the CTO and co-founder, and myself started exploring the UK markets. We raised some small founder-based capital to go and explore the markets there, found success that we weren't really expecting. And very quickly, the shareholders told me to move there. So I'm about to sell my house, moved to London in 2018. And yeah, now I bounce between London and Cape Town as needed by the business.
Excellent. So you operate in both countries. You have operations in South Africa and you have operations in UK, meaning customers in both of them.
Absolutely, right. So we've actually got three offices with a fourth one opening soon. So we've got our Cape Town is our product and innovation campus. This is where all the magic happens. We develop our world-class software. And then in Johannesburg, we've got a customer services arm with about 50 people who look after our customers, ongoing change to platform. And then in London, we've got a bespoke team of about 15 people looking after our growth, development, and some customer-facing project management. And on 1 July, we are opening up a center of excellence in Lisbon as well.
Excellent. And for those that do not know about Genasys, can you briefly explain what pain you solve? What is the technology about?
Yeah, so in short, Genasys is a full stack end-to-end policy and claims administration platform, and we try and do things a little bit differently, right? We can write business across 450 lines of business, all the way from P&C insurance to specialty lines of business. We handle MGAs, general insurers, and we take a more agile approach to our implementation. We try and partner with our customers and lean more into iterative change rather than promising massive step change through transformation. What that means is we allow customers to launch products more quickly, but on a proven and scaled platform, something that's been around for a while. We've got some customers running 300 million pounds of GWP on platform, so clearly it can handle volumes, but they still want the agility to be able to go and launch more products as the markets develop.
If I understand correctly, if you are a broker, a UK broker or a South African broker, that you have binding capacity, that you have the ability to launch your own insurance underwriting products, Genasys is a good fit for you to manage your whole book of business, all the types of processes that you might have. Is that correct?
Correct, right? So we can certainly handle and help on binder-based business. We also serve multiple MGAs and multiple insurers across the sector. We specifically don't operate in the retail broking space, but when there's bound business, we certainly can help.
Gotcha. And would this be considered like a software house in the traditional term?
No,
if we were to put it,
exactly.
This would not be a software house.
No, not software house. We're a platform player that works with targeted customers rather than being a software house that people are compelled to use.
What would be kind of the difference between a software house and a platform player?
Well, the fact that we operate independently and each one of the items or each one of the implementations is completely bespoke to the customers through customization. So we don't simply have a software that you have to stand up and plug into and operate on. We also don't facilitate distribution of other people's products. Every implementation we do is custom to that particular customer for their specific needs and for their requirements. But just to be very clear, when I say customized, I don't mean core code. It's done in a customization layer.
If we are talking about a broker, let's put it, it is one or the other product, or they usually like could complement. Meaning a software house and Genasys, it would be one or the other, or they might complement.
They'll be complementary, right? So one of the things that the software houses are not capable of doing is launching new products at high speed or high velocity and to bespoke those out, because obviously they have to get the scalability across the distribution channels that they have already. So what we find quite regularly is that brokerages will run two platforms. One of the software houses to run the standard retail broking, and then if they want to run bound or schemed business, they would stand something like Genasys up alongside that. And because we charge on consumption of platform rather than a flat fee generally, the dual run costs can be managed by them.
And when we look at the software house solutions in the UK market, at least from the knowledge that I have, and I would love to have your insights about it, we see a clear dominance of one, two players mostly. Why do you think this consolidation happened, and there are no other players that might be competing at the same level as, especially now that technology is easier to build, integrations are easier to build? Like, why do you think this dominance happens, and do you foresee this dominance will be kept in the near future?
I believe the dominance started because there was one product that was significantly better than the rest, and they simply started getting cadence. They were also really good at ensuring that they owned the full life cycle of the policy and all the periphery around it. So there's a lot of data that flows with that, and a lot of control of where the policies go. Having said that, some of the other software houses, had some significant outages over a period of time, and they lost their customers' faith, and people started moving. Will the dominance last forever? I'm not sure. I mean, recently an American software house tried to play into that space, tried for a couple of years, didn't get much traction, spent vast amounts of capital trying to break into that market, and couldn't penetrate. But sooner or later, there's going to be someone that comes in there and disrupts it. You can only protect, the moat can only be so strong. And it's such a lucrative market. And the software houses that have survived and are the top two are doing really well for themselves. So they've got to pat themselves on the back. They built really good businesses. But yeah, I mean, their businesses are too attractive for players to come, not to come and challenge them sooner or later.
Gotcha. And with this context that you started operating back in 2016, 2017, that you mentioned that you were getting into the UK market, like what angle do you recognize as very positive to become a relevant player in the UK market without any presence before that? Like, it is not easy to, you mentioned you're complementary, but well, in most of the brokerages or MGAs, maybe it's a new software tool. What kind of things made you successful at the time?
A couple of things, right? So from a human level, Craig and myself were very, we had to persevere a lot. We were very driven to meet as many people as possible. But fortunately, our technology is really, really good. And everybody that looked at it and saw it, the software sold itself. So we had a simple job, really, which is not that simple, but as long as we could demo our software to people, it would sell itself. So that set us apart. While we get a lot of credit personally for the successes of breaking into the UK market and now becoming a named brand in the UK market, it's actually down to the software and the people who built the software. It is really, really good. And once people can see that versus the legacy technology that was available and the speed of change and the speed of implementation, it certainly got the market excited. And all it really took was 3 or 4 implementations to go in successfully on time, in budget, for the market to sit up and take notice, because that's unheard of. When last have you heard of a project going in on time?
That makes a lot of sense. And tying this together with the rise of AI, with the rise of AI, and we were talking about this, like software is becoming cheaper to build and to at least do a very nice demo about the functionalities that could be done. And you mentioned that back in the day, software was a competitive advantage. Now, do you think this is something that could be still a competitive advantage for a newcomer or for someone that wants to compete in a new space? And at the same time, about moats, like what do you think will be the moats of the future of software companies building for the insurance sector, especially because making good software should be cheaper than it was before.
Yeah, in theory, you are right. But remember, so firstly, to maintain your competitive advantage, any player that wants to come into the insurance space now has got access to tooling that will help them build software more cost effectively than, let's call it, 2 years ago. But so do the incumbent players. So as long as the incumbent players adopt the same technology, they'll be able to keep and maintain the head start that they have. The building of the software is also not really what I would call the difficult part. Where the art of building it sits in is having the insurance understanding and building software to talk to the insurance processes. And then we always have this joke amongst the leadership forums about, and it's always just a light joke, kind of like the reason why AI is not going to threaten the insurance markets anytime soon is because no one knows how to train the model on insurance because no one fully understands it. So that's kind of like the standing joke. And that's the moat, right? Is the insurance knowledge, is the insurance understanding, is the system of record. The people who are going to be disrupted by artificial intelligence in the insurance space are the ones that do very light touch periphery type of systems. The core platform providers, as long as they adopt the technology to maintain their cadence of R&D, should be okay. But it's the people that want to do very specific outside of core functions. Building those things are now very cost effective. So what's probably going to happen, and what we are seeing happening more, is the core policy admin and claims players building out these narrow AI solutions outside of their core because they can do it in a matter of weeks rather than have to share the revenue with someone else.
Gotcha. And given this ability to see the whole picture as a core platform of the different parts of the distribution chain, you mentioned the broker, the MJs, and even the insurers. Like, which are the pains that in these last 10 years you have seen over and over come back? And although technology has advanced, these pains have not disappeared. Like, which are the ones that you say, okay, this is where we are focusing at Genasys, trying to build a solution for this type of pain?
So you're talking about the pain points in the last 10 years.
Like,
I,
which are
I
the
would,
ones that remain as painful? Although technology advanced, like, things remain.
This might be a bit contentious, but I think it is simply people not telling the truth about what it is their software can do. No, regardless of how good their software is, if you don't sell what's on the box or on the tin, you're going to end up with disappointed customers. One of the biggest challenges that we face at the moment as a growing organization is effectively the scar tissue that we bump into with customers who have been burnt. So our pipeline is full of customers that have come out of failed implementations going, we engage with this software company. We spent X amount for 2 years. Nothing happened. And now, Andre and Genasys, we want to try with you, but we are now going to effectively be punitive in our agreement because we don't want to be scarred again. So there's a couple of bad actors in the industry that have really damaged the reputation of software
Reputation.
players. Absolutely. And it's that kind of scorched earth that's been left behind. That is the biggest challenge. Is convincing people that not all businesses are the same. I know that might not be a technology answer, but that is the thing that we bump into the whole time.
Gotcha. And when you see kind of the other side of the coin, which is the end customer, the one that is getting the policy, do you also try to serve them as part of the solution? Meaning they have ongoing increasing expectations on how their digital journey should be, how AI should serve them. Like, up to what extent you're also building for that customer, not only for the B2B.
I really appreciate you asking that question because it's a question that gets asked too little. We always get asked about what we're doing for our customers, but ultimately our customers are the policyholders. And one of the things that we have as an ethos is in Genasys is that when we get a request to change the software or to build something, we always say to ourselves, how is this going to change the life of the policyholder? So it might sound a bit corny or a bit soft or fluffy, but we want to build software so that in the event that someone has a claim, that we can make sure that our platform can serve them as quickly as possible so that they can get the claims paid as quickly as possible. If there's someone who has lost their partner, to make sure that that life insurance or funeral cover gets paid out as quickly as possible so that they aren't aggrieved. The last thing you want to do is to wait 3 or 4 months for something to be settled. And the same thing from pricing, right? We don't want people to be priced incorrectly. We want to give them accurate pricing, accurate cover. So while we have to look after our customers, we've got a duty and a responsibility to make sure that what we build actually helps the policyholders, the people who pay the premiums. And the people who we don't speak about often enough, quite honestly, they are the ones that matter.
Andrea, thanks a lot. Thanks for the insights. Congrats on everything that you have been building so far. Congrats on the success, and looking forward to keeping in touch on the evolution of Genasys and seeing what the future looks like.